Keisha rang the doorbell for the sixth time, holding Zoe against her chest while Aiden screamed in the stroller beside her. "Tyler, open the door, please!" The door suddenly opened. Tyler appeared in a hoodie, irritated eyes. He looked at her like she was a stranger. "Keisha, what the hell are you doing here?" "I had nowhere else to go. I got evicted yesterday." "Tyler, I need help." "The babies need—" "I told you not to show up here." He cut her off, looking at the twins with disgust. "I told you to deal with this." "Deal with it?" Her voice cracked. "Tyler, they're your kids. Keep your voice down. My neighbors don't need to hear this." Keisha took a step forward, desperate. "I lost my job because of you. Your father fired me and you disappeared. Nobody will hire me without a reference. I tried, Tyler. I tried everything." Tears mixed with rain streamed down her face. "I just need help until I get back on my feet. Please." "You should have thought about that before." "Before what? Before I believed you?" She felt her chest tighten. "You said we'd be together. You said—" "I said what you wanted to hear." The words came out ice cold. Keisha stopped breathing. "What?" Tyler ran his hand through his hair, impatient. "It was fun while it lasted, Keisha, but I never said I wanted kids. Never said I wanted a family with you." Zoe started crying louder. Keisha rocked the baby, but her arms were numb. "They're your blood, Tyler. You can't just— I have a career. I have plans." He took a step back. "And you show up here with 2 kids thinking I'm going to drop everything? And another thing, I want a family that looks like me, Keisha." He pointed at the twins. "Not this. I can't build a life with kids who are black," she finished for him. Tyler didn't deny it. "Get off my property." "Tyler, wait." "I said get out." He pushed. It wasn't hard, but it was enough. Keisha stumbled on the wet step, tried to catch herself, but fell to her knees on the sidewalk. She protected Zoe with her body. The baby screamed. Aiden wailed. The door slammed shut. Keisha stayed there, on her knees, rain pounding down. She looked at the closed door, at the light going out inside, and understood everything. He was never coming back. She had $19 in her pocket, 3 diapers in her bag, 2 one-month-old babies, and nowhere to go. She got up shaking, grabbed the stroller, started walking down the street. The rain wouldn't stop. The babies wouldn't stop crying. Suddenly brakes screeched behind her. A luxury car stopped on the street. The door opened. A black man came running out. He wore a dark suit and had gray hair. "Miss, are you okay?" Keisha tried to answer, but her legs gave out. The world spun. She saw the man running toward her. Then everything went black. Keisha woke up in a strange room. High ceiling, crystal chandelier, sheets way too soft. Where was she? "The babies!" She jumped out of bed, heart racing. "Zoe! Aiden!" A black woman came in with a coffee tray. "Easy, honey. The babies are fine. Mr. Harrington's with them." Keisha didn't wait for an explanation. She ran out, down the marble staircase, following the sound of a baby crying. She stopped at the living room door. A black man was holding the twins, one in each arm, rocking them carefully. "They're hungry," he spoke calmly. "I waited for you to wake up." Keisha ran over and grabbed Zoe from his arms, checked the baby all over. Clean, dry, safe. "Who are you?" "David Harrington. You passed out on the street last night, in the rain. I brought you and the babies here." He handed over Aiden without her having to ask. "Harrington?" She sat down, legs weak. "From the hospital?" "Yes, I own the Harrington Medical Group." He sat down, keeping his distance. "You worked at the Central Hospital." Nurse. "Fired in August." Tears fell. "I didn't steal anything. They lied." "I believe you." David leaned forward. "I saw you being thrown out of the Mitchell mansion last night. I want to know why." Keisha had nothing to lose. She told him everything. Tyler, the secret relationship, the empty promises, the pregnancy, his panic, the pressure to hide it all. "He said we'd be together, that I just had to wait." She wiped her face. "When my belly started showing, he freaked out. He pressured me not to tell anyone he was the father." "And you got fired?" "Yes, 2 weeks after the babies were born. Dr. Bradley Mitchell, Tyler's father, said I made a serious mistake with medication. But I didn't. He made it all up." David was silent. Then he stood up, walked to the window. "Bradley Mitchell has always been trouble. Now I have a reason to investigate." He turned. "Tyler is the father of these babies, isn't he?" Keisha nodded. "He's going to take responsibility. I guarantee it." David walked to the door. Stay here, you and the kids, until we sort this out. I can't. You can and you will. He stopped. Tomorrow I'll start investigating. If Tyler is the father, he's going to pay. Keisha felt relief for the first time in months. Thank you. David left for the hallway. She heard his voice on the phone, ice cold. Tanya, it's me. Investigate everything about Bradley Mitchell and his son Tyler. Emails, messages, everything. Cost doesn't matter. Pause. Someone's going to pay for this. 2 weeks passed like a strange dream. Keisha woke up every day in that huge room, fed the twins, had breakfast prepared by Maria. David left early for work and came back at night, always asking how she was doing, if she needed anything. She didn't understand why a man she barely knew was doing all of this. But the babies were healthy. She was eating right for the first time in months, so she didn't question it. Till the afternoon, David came home early. Keisha was in the living room, Zoe sleeping in the stroller, and Aiden nursing. She heard the front door open, quick footsteps. David walked in carrying a black leather briefcase. His face was set. We need to talk. Her stomach dropped. What happened? Did I do something wrong? No. David sat in the armchair across from her, placed the briefcase on the coffee table. But I found out some things you need to know. He opened the briefcase, pulled out a stack of papers, printed emails, messages, documents. My private investigator got access to the hospital's internal emails and Tyler and Bradley Mitchell's personal messages. He passed the papers to her. Read. Keisha put Aiden in the stroller and took the first paper with trembling hands. It was an email from Bradley Mitchell to the HR department. I need you to prepare termination paperwork for Nurse Keisha Thompson. Reason: serious error in handling controlled medication. I need this processed by end of week. Jack quietly. Another email, response from HR. Dr. Mitchell, there is no record of any error committed by Ms. Thompson. We need documentation of the incident to process the termination. Bradley's response. I will provide the documentation. Just prepare the papers. Keisha felt her chest tighten. He had set it all up. He had invented an error that never happened. She grabbed another paper. It was a message conversation between Tyler and Bradley. Tyler wrote to his father saying they needed to talk. It was about her, that she was pregnant, and saying the baby was his. Bradley asked if he had confirmed it. Tyler replied no, but it was probably his. They'd been together for a while. Bradley's response was brutal, called his son an idiot, said he'd warned him not to get involved with employees, especially with, and left the sentence hanging, said he'd take care of it. Tyler asked how. Bradley told him to pretend nothing happened. Stop talking to her immediately. Keisha felt nausea rising. There were more messages. Weeks later, Tyler told his father she'd had the babies, twins, that she was calling nonstop. Bradley told him to block the number, said he'd already fired her, that without references and without a clean record she wouldn't get anywhere, that she'd disappear on her own. Tyler asked what if she came after him for child support. Bradley said she didn't have money for a lawyer, told him to relax. Keisha dropped the papers. Her hands were shaking so hard she couldn't hold anything anymore. They planned everything. Her voice came out hoarse. From the beginning. They destroyed me on purpose. David pulled another document from the briefcase. There's more. Tyler Mitchell is engaged. Madison Parker, daughter of Senator Robert Parker. Wedding scheduled for 5 weeks from now. Keisha closed her eyes. Of course he was engaged. Probably always had been. He never loved me, she whispered. I was such an idiot. You weren't an idiot. You trusted the wrong person. That's not your fault. David leaned forward. But now we have proof. Proof of conspiracy, wrongful termination, discrimination, and I want to sue them. Keisha opened her eyes. Sue? Yes. Wrongful termination, racial discrimination, paternal abandonment, emotional damages. David tapped his finger on the papers. We're going after child support, compensation, and justice. I don't have money for... I do. He cut her off. I'll cover everything. Lawyers, costs, whatever it takes. You just need to agree to fight. Keisha looked at the twins sleeping. So small, so innocent. They deserved more than this. Deserved a father who took responsibility. Deserved justice. But she was scared. So scared. What if we lose? What if they destroy my life again? They won't. David spoke with absolute certainty. Because this time you're not alone. I'll go all the way, Keisha. All the way. She looked into his eyes, saw determination, anger. but also something more. Something like old pain. Why? She asked again. Why are you doing this for me? David was silent for a long moment. He looked away, looked at the window. When he spoke, his voice came out lower. I had a daughter, Sarah. She died at 19. Keisha felt her heart squeeze. I'm so sorry. She was a medical student, brilliant, had the whole world ahead of her. He rubbed his face, tired. But the pressure was too much. The expectations, the studies, everything. She started using pills to cope, stimulants, anti-anxiety meds, things she could get at the hospital where she interned. He stopped, took a deep breath. One night she took the wrong dose, mixed things she shouldn't have, and her heart stopped. Tears ran down his face. He didn't try to hide them. I couldn't save her. Couldn't see that she was suffering. Couldn't do anything. He looked at Keisha. But when I saw you in that rain, holding these babies, desperate, alone, I saw my daughter. And this time, I can make a difference. This time, I can help. Keisha couldn't hold back. She cried too. She would be proud of you. David smiled sadly. I hope so. He wiped his face, took the papers back, put them in the briefcase. When he looked at Keisha again, the determination had returned. So, you in? Keisha thought about the twins, thought about everything Tyler and Bradley had done, thought about the injustice, and for the first time in months, she felt something other than despair. She felt anger. Yes, I'm in. The lawyer arrived 3 days later. Tanya Rodriguez was everything Keisha didn't expect. Short, about 40 years old, short black hair, red suit, high heels, sharp gaze that seemed to see right through people. She walked into the room like she was entering a boxing ring. So, you're Keisha. Tanya dropped her leather briefcase on the table, sat down without waiting for an invitation. David told me your story. I'm not going to lie. I thought he was exaggerating. But after I saw the documents, she whistled softly. The Mitchells are real bastards. Keisha blinked, surprised by the bluntness. David came in right behind her, carrying coffee. Tanya Rodriguez, best labor and civil rights attorney in the region, he introduced. If anyone can win this case, it's her. Can? Tanya raised an eyebrow. David, honey, I'm going to win this case. The question is how much we're going to squeeze out of these guys. She opened the briefcase, spread documents on the table. Keisha recognized the emails David had shown her. Okay, let's cut to the chase. Tanya crossed her legs. We have proof of conspiracy, fabricated termination, racial discrimination in the workplace. We have messages proving Bradley Mitchell ordered your firing to protect his son. We have Tyler admitting paternity and then abandoning the children. She tapped her finger on the papers. We're going to sue for 4 things: wrongful termination, racial discrimination, paternal abandonment with a request for child support, and emotional damages. I'm talking millions, Keisha. Easily millions. Keisha felt her head spin. Millions? Yes. The hospital's going to have to pay heavy compensation. Tyler's going to have to pay child support and acknowledge paternity. And if we play this right, Bradley loses his medical license and his position. Tanya smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was a shark's smile. But I need to be honest with you. The Mitchells have money. They have influence. They're going to fight dirty. Dirty how? They're going to try to destroy your reputation. They'll say you're an unstable mother, that you're lying, that you're making it all up to extort money. They'll hire investigators to dig through your entire life looking for anything they can use against you. Tanya leaned forward. Can you handle that? Keisha looked at the twins sleeping in the stroller beside her. Yes, I can handle it. Good. Tanya pushed some papers toward her. Sign here. This is the power of attorney authorizing me to represent you. And here, the legal notice we're sending to Tyler demanding acknowledgement of paternity and child support. Keisha picked up the pen. Her hand shook a little, but she signed. There was no turning back now. Tanya put away the documents, satisfied. Perfect. Tomorrow morning I'm sending the notice. Buckle up, because from now on, the circus begins. She wasn't exaggerating. The notice was delivered the next day, straight to the central hospital. A process server handed it personally to Tyler Mitchell in the middle of his shift. Keisha wasn't there to see it, but David had security cameras. He showed her the footage that night. Tyler opened the envelope in the hospital hallway, read the first few lines, and went white. Completely white. He looked around, saw colleagues watching, and ran to the bathroom. 10 minutes later, he called his father. David's investigator had Tyler's cell phone wiretapped with a court order. They heard everything. Dad, she sued me. That crazy woman sued me. Bradley's voice came ice cold from the other end. Shut your mouth. Where are you? At the hospital. An officer just handed me a notice demanding a paternity test and child support. Silence on the other end. Then, I warned you. I told you not to leave a trail. You said you'd handled it. You said she'd disappear. And she would have, if you weren't stupid enough to let her show up at your house making a scene. Bradley sighed, irritated. Come to my office. Now. We need to talk. The call dropped. David turned off the recording. They're gonna counterattack, he said. They're probably already calling their lawyers. What now? Now we wait. They didn't have to wait long. 3 days later, Tanya received the response. A 15-page counter notice from an expensive law firm. She read it out loud to them both. Ms. Thompson is making baseless accusations against Dr. Tyler Mitchell with the intention of extortion and illicit enrichment. Dr. Mitchell vehemently denies paternity of the children and demands immediate DNA testing. Furthermore, there are serious questions about Ms. Thompson's ability to adequately care for the children, given her history of emotional instability and termination for professional misconduct. Tanya threw the papers on the table. Emotional instability, professional misconduct. They're already playing dirty. What do we do? Keisha asked, voice shaking. We play dirtier. Tanya smiled. David, release the dossier to the journalists. I want this story on every news outlet by tomorrow morning. David nodded. It's ready. The next day, the story exploded. Nurse wrongfully terminated sues renowned hospital doctors for racial discrimination and child abandonment. There were photos of Keisha with the twins, excerpts from Bradley's emails, testimonials from her former colleagues talking about her competence and character. The media pounced. Tanya's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Interview requests. Journalists wanting statements. Bradley Mitchell held a press conference at the hospital trying to control the damage. Talked about defamation, baseless accusations, family privacy. It didn't work. Public opinion had already chosen a side. And then, on a Friday night, Tyler showed up. Keisha was in the living room with David watching TV when they heard shouting outside. Keisha, I know you're in there. Come out here. David went to the window, opened the curtain. Tyler was outside the gate, stumbling, drunk, screaming. You're going to regret messing with me. You hear me? You're going to regret it. David grabbed the phone, called security. There's a man at the gate. Get him out of here. If he resists, call the police. 2 security guards appeared. Tyler tried to shove one of them, yelled louder. The police arrived 5 minutes later. Keisha watched it all from the window, holding Zoe against her chest. Tyler was put in the patrol car, still screaming. The red and blue lights lit up the entire street before disappearing. David closed the curtain. Tomorrow this is going to be everywhere. He was right. The next day, the video of Tyler getting arrested drunk went viral. Doctor accused of child abandonment, arrested after trespassing on private property. Tanya called in the morning laughing. They just hanged themselves. The drunk, violent fiancé, the fiancé's going to love finding out. And she would. Because Madison Parker was watching it all on TV. And she had no idea Tyler had 2 kids. The video of Tyler getting arrested went viral all over the internet over the weekend. Monday morning, Tanya showed up at the mansion with a proposal. We need to end the doubt once and for all. She threw the briefcase on the table. Public DNA test, court order, certified lab, in front of everyone. Keisha was sitting on the couch, Aiden sleeping in her lap. Public? Yes. We schedule it, notify the press, make everything transparent. Tyler's saying these babies could be anyone's, right? We prove they're not. With science. With witnesses. No room for doubt. David was leaning against the fireplace, arms crossed. It's risky. If something goes wrong technically, if the lab makes any mistake, it won't. Tanya cut him off. I already talked to the best ones. And we're doing double collection. 2 samples, 2 different labs. If Tyler wants to contest it, he'll have to contest both. Keisha looked at Aiden sleeping. So small, so innocent. Okay, do it. The test was scheduled for Wednesday. The press was there. Cameras, photographers, reporters with microphones. The lab had turned into a circus. Keisha arrived with David and Tanya carrying the twins. She wore simple clothes, no makeup. She wanted them to see her as she was, a mother, that's all. Tyler arrived 20 minutes later with 3 lawyers. He wore a gray suit, blue tie, hair done. He looked like a different person. Didn't look like the drunk man screaming at the gate. Didn't look like the man who had pushed her in the rain. He looked like a respectable doctor. He looked at Keisha. There was no remorse in his eyes, just contempt. "Let's get this circus over with." Tyler spoke loud enough for the reporters to hear. "When the results come out, everyone's going to see she's lying." Keisha didn't respond, just held the babies closer. One of Tyler's lawyers approached the cameras. "My client is here voluntarily to prove his innocence. Ms. Thompson made serious accusations without any proof. We're confident the test will reveal the truth." Tanya stepped forward. "The truth is that Tyler Mitchell abandoned 2 helpless babies because they're black. And today, science is going to prove it." The cameras went off. They went into the lab. The collection was quick. Swab on Tyler's cheek, swabs on Aiden and Zoe's cheeks. Everything documented, everything filmed. 2 samples, 2 labs. Tyler left without looking back. Keisha stood there, holding the twins, while flashes exploded around her. "Miss Thompson, what will you do if the test is positive?" "Miss Thompson, Mr. Tyler said you're making it up. What do you have to say?" Tanya raised her hand, silencing everyone. "Ms. Thompson won't be answering questions now. We'll wait for the results. 72 hours. They were the longest 72 hours of Keisha's life. She knew the babies were Tyler's. She knew it. But what if something went wrong? What if there was contamination? Some error? David noticed her anxiety. "It's going to be fine," he said Friday night. "It will." Saturday morning, Tanya's phone rang at 6 a.m. She answered, listened for a few seconds, then smiled. "Results are in. Both labs. 99.9% match. Tyler Mitchell is the biological father of Aiden and Zoe Thompson." Keisha sat up in bed, heart racing. "Are you sure?" "Positive." Tanya was laughing now. "And there's more. Tyler's lawyer already called 3 times trying to negotiate before the official release. Bradley tried to bribe the lab director, offering $50,000 to invalidate the results." "What?" "I recorded the call. It's illegal, of course. Attempted bribery and obstruction of justice." Tanya slapped the table, satisfied. They buried themselves. The news broke at noon. DNA test confirms Dr. Tyler Mitchell is father of abandoned twins. The headline was everywhere. TV, internet, radio. There were photos of Tyler leaving the lab with a grim face, photos of Keisha with the babies, and then the bombshell. Lab reports bribery attempt to invalidate DNA results. Bradley Mitchell had tried to buy silence, and he'd failed. Tyler's phone rang mid-afternoon. He was home, locked in his room, trying to process everything. He saw the name on the screen. "Madison." He answered. "Hey babe, What's this story about you having 2 kids?" Her voice came ice cold, hard. "Madison, let me explain." "Explain what, Tyler? That you had twin babies with another woman and never told me? That you abandoned 2 children? That you denied they were yours on TV? It's not like that." "Then what is it like?" she screamed. Tyler heard something breaking on the other end. "I saw the news, saw everything, your father's emails, the DNA test, the bribery attempt." "Madison, please. We were going to get married, Tyler. Get married. And you hid from me that you had kids." "I don't have kids," he exploded. "They're not really my kids. They're just biology. I never wanted them." Silence on the other end. When Madison spoke again, her voice came out low, dangerously low. "You abandoned your own children because they're black. That's it, isn't it?" Tyler didn't answer. "I can't marry you," Madison whispered. "I can't." "Madison." The call dropped. Tyler called back. Voicemail. Called again. Again. Blocked. He threw his phone at the wall. It exploded into 1,000 pieces. The next day, Madison Parker gave an interview. She was sitting in her parents' living room, blue dress, hair pulled back, composed, elegant. "I've called off my engagement to Tyler Mitchell." She looked straight at the camera. "I can't marry a man who abandons his own children because of the color of their skin. My family has values that include responsibility, compassion, and equality." The reporter leaned in. "Did you know about the babies?" "No, I found out along with the rest of the country." Madison took a deep breath. "If Tyler had told me from the beginning, if he had taken responsibility, maybe we could have talked. But he lied. He denied it. He tried to destroy the mother of these children. That I don't accept." The interview went viral in minutes. Madison Parker became a trending topic. Tyler watched it all from home, alone, drunk, and did the worst thing he could do. He grabbed his phone, opened Instagram, recorded a video. "You want to know the truth? The truth is she set me up." He was stumbling, voice slurred. Keisha. She knew I had a future, knew I was going to be somebody. So she got pregnant on purpose to trap me, to get my money. He pointed at the phone. I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this. And now my life is destroyed because of her. He posted it. The video had 3 million views in the first hour, and it was a disaster. People didn't see an innocent man being wrongly accused. They saw a drunk, pathetic man blaming a woman for his own choices. The comments were brutal. What a disgusting human being. You're an adult. You knew how babies are made. She set you up? You can't take responsibility even when you're drunk. Racist and coward. Perfect combination. Tyler deleted the video 2 hours later. Too late. Everyone had already copied it. Bradley issued an official statement the next day. The Mitchell family deeply regrets the exposure of private matters in the media. We support our son unconditionally and ask for respect and privacy during this difficult time. David read the statement and laughed. Privacy? Now they want privacy? He called Tanya. Release the emails. All of them. Are you sure? Positive. I want everyone to see what Bradley Mitchell did. Tanya sent them to the journalists. The next day, the emails were everywhere. Conspiracy exposed. Department head ordered firing to protect son. There were screenshots of all the messages. Bradley orchestrating everything. Tyler admitting paternity and asking his father for help to solve the problem. The hospital went into crisis. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. Patients canceled appointments. Black employees started speaking out. I worked with Dr. Bradley for 5 years. He was always racist, just disguised. He never promoted black employees, always had an excuse. Once he told me to my face, I didn't have the profile to work in his department. Profile. We all knew what that meant. The Justice for Keisha movement exploded, and then Keisha gave her first interview. She sat in front of the cameras, no makeup, no production, just her and the truth. I don't want revenge, she spoke calmly. I just want my children to grow up knowing their mother fought for them, that she didn't give up, that she demanded dignity. The reporter asked, "What do you want to say to Tyler Mitchell?" Keisha looked straight at the camera. "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. My children deserve to grow up without hate. But forgiveness doesn't mean you're going to escape the consequences. You're going to pay child support. You're going to acknowledge paternity. And you're going to learn that actions have consequences." The interview had 15 million views, and it changed everything. 3 days after calling off the engagement, Madison gave another interview, this time for a national TV program. The host leaned in, friendly. "Madison, you've been praised for the courage to call off the wedding. How are you dealing with all of this?" Madison took a deep breath. "I'm relieved. Relieved that I found out before the wedding who Tyler really is." She looked at the camera. "I can't marry a man who abandons children because of the color of their skin. My family has values, values that don't include racism or cowardice." "Do you think his behavior was racially motivated?" "I'm sure of it." Madison spoke without hesitation. "He made it very clear in the leaked messages. He didn't want a family that didn't look like him. His words, not mine." The host held up a paper. "And there are reports that you met Keisha Thompson personally. Is that true?" Madison nodded. "Yes, I went to the house where she's staying. I needed to look her in the eye and apologize." "Apologize?" "Yes. Apologize for not seeing who Tyler really was before. Apologize for not questioning him when he said problematic things. I should have noticed." She wiped away a tear. "Keisha was very kind to me, kinder than I deserved. And those babies, they're beautiful, perfect. And Tyler rejected them. That I'll never understand." The interview ended with Madison making a $50,000 donation to the twins' education fund. Tyler watched from home, alone, drunk, again. He grabbed his phone, opened Twitter, started typing. "You're all judging me without knowing the full side of the story. Keisha knew exactly what she was doing. She knew I had a future and wanted to trap me, and you all fell for her scheme." He posted it. 2 minutes later, he deleted it. Too late. Screenshots went around the world. The comments were devastating. "Dude, stop. You're just digging yourself deeper. She wanted to trap me. You can't take responsibility even under pressure. I'm a white man, and even I'm embarrassed for you. Racist, coward, and stupid. Congratulations." Tyler threw his phone away, got up, grabbed the whiskey bottle, drank straight from it. The phone rang. "Dad." He answered. "Hello? You're a complete idiot." Bradley didn't even let him speak. An idiot. I told you to keep quiet, to let the lawyers handle it, and you go and make drunk posts on Twitter? Dad, Shut up. Just shut up. You've already destroyed your career. You don't need to destroy mine, too. The call dropped. Tyler stood there, in the middle of the living room, bottle in hand, alone, completely alone. Meanwhile, the hospital was on fire. Not literally, but almost. The board of directors had called an emergency meeting. Bradley was called in to explain. He entered the conference room in an impeccable suit, upright posture, like he still had control. He didn't. The board president, Dr. Helen Moss, a white woman in her 60s, looked at him coldly. Dr. Mitchell, are the leaked emails real? Dr. Moss, I can explain. Yes or no? Bradley clenched his jaw. Yes, but the context. The context is that you orchestrated the firing of a competent employee to protect your son from personal responsibilities. The context is that you forged misconduct documentation. The context is that you abused your position of power to harm a black woman. Helen leaned forward. This is termination for cause, Dr. Mitchell, and it could be criminal prosecution. You can't fire me. I've worked here for 20 years. And in 20 years, you've built a pattern of discrimination. Another board member, Dr. James Park, threw a folder on the table. 12 black employees filed formal complaints in the last 3 days. 12, all reporting systematic discrimination, denied promotions, workplace harassment, hostile environment. Bradley went pale. This is a conspiracy. They're taking advantage of the situation to finally be heard. Helen cut him off. Something they should have been a long time ago. She pushed a paper toward him. You have 2 options. Resign now, and we keep this discreet. Or we fire you publicly and send everything to the state medical board. Choose. Bradley looked at the paper. Letter of resignation. He picked up the pen, hand shaking. He signed. The news broke the same day. Dr. Bradley Mitchell resigns after racial discrimination scandal. Patients started canceling appointments en masse. Not just with Bradley, with the entire hospital. The hospital lost $2 million in contracts in the first week, and then the employees started speaking publicly. Jennifer Moore, a nurse who worked with Keisha, gave an interview. I saw Dr. Bradley pressure Keisha several times. He wanted her to voluntarily resign. When she didn't, he set up the medical error accusation. Jennifer wiped away tears. I should have spoken up before, should have defended her, but I was scared of losing my job, and now I see what my silence caused. Another employee, Marcus Johnson, nursing technician. Dr. Bradley never called me by my name. It was always you or the tech. But with the white techs, it was always by name. Small things. But when added up, they created a terrible environment. The stories continued. 10, 15, 20 employees, all black, all with similar reports. The Justice for Keisha movement became Brosh Justice for All. David watched it all from the mansion, Keisha beside him. You started something bigger than you imagined, he said. Keisha shook her head, eyes welling up. I just wanted justice for my babies, and you got it. But along the way, you gave a voice to many other people. David's phone rang. Private investigator. Mr. Harrington, I found something. What now? Vasectomy. Tyler got a vasectomy 3 months after the twins were born. David was silent. Then he smiled, a cold smile. Send it to Tanya. Now. It was almost midnight when Keisha came downstairs and found David sitting in the dark. He was in the leather armchair, glass of whiskey in hand, looking at a framed photo. Keisha hesitated at the door. Are you okay? David looked up. He looked tired, old, not the confident businessman she knew. I can't sleep lately. She walked in slowly, sat on the couch across from him. Because of the case? No. He swirled the glass in his hand. Because of my daughter. Keisha saw the photo he was holding. A young girl, beautiful, dark skin, huge smile. She was wearing a white coat and stethoscope. Is that her? Sarah? David nodded. Taken 3 months before she died. She had just started medical school. She was so happy. Keisha saw the pain on his face. You said she died of an overdose. Accidental overdose, David corrected, voice hoarse. She wasn't trying to kill herself. She was just trying to cope. He took a sip of whiskey. Sarah was brilliant, smarter than me, more dedicated. She wanted to be a cardiac surgeon. She'd been saving lives since she was 5, at least in her games. He smiled sadly. But the pressure was brutal. School, professors, expectations. Hers, mostly. And she started using pills? Yes, first it was stimulants, to stay awake studying, then anti-anxiety meds, to control panic before exams, then antidepressants, to cope with everything. David closed his eyes. She was interning at the Central Hospital, same hospital where you worked, where Bradley was department head. Keisha felt a chill. Bradley knew your daughter? Yes, he was her supervisor. David opened his eyes, looked at Keisha. Sarah had access to controlled medication. Easy access. Bradley knew. He saw it, and did nothing. I think he saw my daughter self-destructing and chose to ignore it. Because doing something would be work. Because reporting meant paperwork. Because he simply didn't care. David's voice shook. And one night, she mixed the wrong dose. Her heart stopped. Tears ran down his face. I found her on the bedroom floor. Called 911. Did CPR. Tried everything. But it was too late. Keisha got up, went to him, held his hand. I'm so sorry. So sorry. David squeezed her hand. After she died, I tried to investigate. Tried to prove the hospital was negligent. But there wasn't enough evidence. Bradley covered his tracks, and I was left with the pain and anger, with nowhere to put it. He looked at Keisha. Until that night, until I saw you in the rain, holding those babies, in front of the Mitchell house. And I knew it was my chance to do something. To make a difference. To stop Bradley from destroying another life. David? Keisha took a deep breath. You don't need to save me to save your daughter. He blinked, surprised. What? Sarah's gone. And that's horrible and unfair. But helping me won't bring her back. Keisha squeezed his hand tighter. You're doing the right thing. You're doing justice. And I'm grateful. But don't do it out of guilt. Do it because it's right. Your daughter would love knowing you're doing the right thing now. David was silent for a long moment. Then he smiled. A genuine smile, for the first time in weeks. Thank you. For what? For reminding me why I'm doing this. They stayed there in comfortable silence until Keisha heard Zoe crying upstairs. I need to go. She stood up. But David, thank you. For everything. He nodded. Keisha went upstairs. David stayed there, looking at Sarah's photo. I hope you're proud, baby. I'm trying. The next day, Bradley's lawyers called. Settlement offer, $200,000 for Keisha to drop the lawsuit, and a lifetime confidentiality clause. She could never speak publicly about the case. Ever. Tanya brought the proposal to Keisha. They're desperate. $200,000 is a lot of money. You could start over, buy a house, secure the kid's future. Keisha looked at the twins playing on the rug. And I could never tell the truth again? Not publicly? No. Keisha shook her head. No, my children are priceless. And when they grow up, I want them to know their mother fought, that she wasn't bought off, that she demanded justice. Tanya smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. She called Bradley's lawyers. My client rejects the offer. See you in court. The rejection was made public. Keisha gave a short interview in front of the cameras. They offered me $200,000 to stay quiet, to give up, to forget what Bradley and Tyler Mitchell did. She looked straight at the camera. But my children are priceless, and silence isn't justice. We're going to court, and we're going to win. The video went viral within hours. My children are priceless became a trending topic. Bradley watched from home, alone, defeated. Tyler watched, drunk, pathetic. And then Tanya's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. Hello? Attorney Rodriguez? My name is Jennifer Moore. I was going to testify in Keisha's case. I was the key witness. Tanya became alert. Was? What do you mean, was? I received money. $50,000. From Bradley's lawyers. To disappear, to not testify. And I accepted. Jennifer was crying. But I can't take it anymore. Can't take the guilt. I need to tell the truth. I need to testify. Tanya closed her eyes, relieved. Where are you? At a hotel, 2 hours away. They sent me here. Stay there. I'm coming to get you. And you're going to testify. Don't worry. Tanya hung up, looked at David and Keisha. Our witness is back, and she has more ammunition than we thought. The trial was coming, and they were ready. Tanya drove for 2 hours to the hotel where Jennifer was hiding. It was a simple place on the side of the road, peeling paint, flickering sign. Jennifer opened the room door with eyes swollen from crying. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Tanya walked in, closed the door. "Tell me everything." Jennifer sat on the bed, hands shaking. "They called me 3 weeks ago. Bradley's lawyers said they had a proposal, $50,000 for me to disappear until the trial was over. And they said more. They said if I testified, they'd investigate my record, look for any mistake I'd made at the hospital, anything, and they'd use it to take my license. They threatened you." "Yes, but disguised. You know how it is. All very polite, very legal. But the message was clear." Jennifer wiped her face. "I have 3 kids. I'm a single mom. I can't lose my license, can't lose my job. So I took the money and came here." Tanya sat beside her. "And what changed?" "I saw Keisha's interview when she turned down the $200,000. Jennifer looked at Tanya. She was holding those babies, saying her children were priceless. And I thought, I have 3 kids. What am I teaching them? That money is more important than doing the right thing?" Tears fell. "I can't take the guilt anymore. Can't. I need to do the right thing. I need to testify." Tanya took her hand. "You will, and I'm going to protect you. David Harrington is going to protect you. You won't lose your license. You won't lose anything. You have my word." Jennifer nodded, relieved. The next day, Tanya brought Jennifer back. David received her at the mansion, guaranteed her a job at his hospital with better pay, full protection. Jennifer hugged Keisha, crying. I'm sorry for taking that money." Keisha held her. "You came back. That's what matters." 3 days later, the trial began. The courtroom was packed. Cameras, journalists, onlookers. It looked more like a media circus than a courtroom. Bradley and Tyler arrived with 5 lawyers. Expensive suits, leather briefcases, air of superiority. They sat on the right side, confident. Keisha entered with David and Tanya. She was carrying Zoe in her arms, Aiden in the stroller. She wore simple clothes, hair pulled back, no makeup. She wanted them to see her as she was, a mother fighting. The judge entered, Judge Angela Martin, black woman in her 50s, gray hair, piercing gaze. She banged the gavel. "All rise, court is in session." They sat. The judge looked at both sides. "This is a complex case involving wrongful termination, racial discrimination, paternal abandonment, and emotional damages. We will proceed with order and respect. Any disturbance will be removed. Understood?" Everyone nodded. "Good. Prosecution, call your first witness." Tanya stood up. Prosecution calls Marcus Williams, nursing supervisor. Marcus went to the stand. Black man in his 40s, impeccable uniform. Tanya walked up to him. "Mr. Williams, did you work with Keisha Thompson?" "Yes, for 2 years." "How was her work?" "Impeccable. Keisha was one of the best nurses in the department. Punctual, competent, careful with patients. Never had any complaints. Any serious medication errors?" "None. 0. If something like that had happened, I would have been notified immediately. I'm the supervisor." And I wasn't. Bradley's lawyer stood up. "Objection. Witness can't know everything that happens in the department." The judge looked at Marcus. "Mr. Williams, do you have records?" "Yes, Your Honor. I brought all the incident reports from that period. There's no mention of Ms. Thompson." He handed the documents to the judge. Tanya smiled. No further questions. Other witnesses followed. Keisha's colleagues, patients she'd cared for, all speaking well of her. Then it was Bradley's lawyer's turn. One of them, a white man in his 50s, gray suit, stood up. "Miss Thompson, did you have an intimate relationship with Dr. Tyler Mitchell while working at the hospital?" Keisha took a deep breath. "Yes." "And you got pregnant during this relationship?" "Yes." "Don't you think mixing personal life with professional was inappropriate?" Tanya stood up. "Objection! Irrelevant and invasive." "Let me rephrase." The lawyer smiled. "Did you seduce Dr. Mitchell knowing he came from an influential family?" "Objection!" Tanya slammed the table. "This is witness harassment." The judge banged the gavel. "Sustained. Counsel, choose your words carefully." The lawyer backed off, but the damage was done. The insinuation hung in the air. Then Tyler was called to the stand. He went up with upright posture, serious expression, swore to tell the truth. His lawyer began. "Dr. Mitchell, can you tell us about your relationship with Ms. Thompson?" Tyler sighed, as if it were hard to talk about. "It was a mistake, I admit. Keisha was persistent. She constantly sought me out, flirted. I was young, stupid, and I gave in. But I made it clear from the beginning it was something casual, nothing serious. Lies. Blatant lies. Keisha clenched her fists. And when she got pregnant? I ended the relationship immediately. Made it clear I didn't want commitment. She didn't accept it. Started stalking me, calling nonstop, showing up at the hospital, at my house. Tyler looked at the judge. I tried to be nice, but she didn't understand. And when the babies were born, she tried to extort me. Said she'd expose everything if I didn't give her money. More lies. Keisha felt nauseous. The lawyer continued for 20 minutes. Tyler painted a perfect picture. Him, the victim. Her, the manipulative seductress. When he finished, Tanya stood up. She walked up to Tyler slowly, looked at him for a long moment. Dr. Mitchell, you just said you made it clear from the beginning the relationship was casual, correct? Yes. And that you ended it when she got pregnant? Correct. And that she stalked you afterward? Yes. Tanya smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. No further questions, Your Honor. Tyler blinked, confused. He expected to be attacked, expected confrontation. Tanya went back to the table, picked up a remote control. But the defense would like to present evidence. She pointed to the large screen on the wall. This is a recording obtained legally by a private investigator in a public space. Central Hospital parking lot, 2 weeks ago. She pressed play. Tyler's voice filled the courtroom. The sound was clear, crisp, impossible to deny. Tyler on the recording talking on the phone. Dude, I swear, I got lucky. Lucky I didn't leave a trail with that girl. Friend's voice, muffled. But what about the babies? Tyler laughed, a bitter laugh. The babies? Imagine me stuck with 2 black babies for the rest of my life. My career would have been over before it started. My dad would have killed me. Madison would never accept it. What about the mother? Keisha? She was stupid to believe I'd take responsibility. I did what I had to do. Took off. Blocked her. Let my dad handle it. Dude, that's cold. It's survival. I'm not letting a one-night mistake destroy everything I built. She can deal with it. The recording stopped. The courtroom fell into absolute silence. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Tyler was white, completely white. Bradley tried to get up, but the lawyers held him back. Keisha closed her eyes. Tears streamed silently down. The judge leaned forward. Play it again. Tanya obeyed. Tyler's voice filled the courtroom for the second time. Imagine me stuck with 2 black babies for the rest of my life. Judge Martin pressed her lips together. Continue, counselor. Tanya moved forward. Your Honor, in addition to the recording, we have more evidence. She projected emails on the screen. Conversations between Tyler and Bradley. Tyler, Dad, Keisha's pregnant. What do I do? Bradley, you don't do anything. I'll handle it. Tyler, how? Bradley, leave it to me. Just stop talking to her, now. Another email, weeks later. Bradley to HR. I need termination documentation for Keisha Thompson. Serious medical error. Proceed immediately. HR. There's no record of an error, Dr. Mitchell. Bradley. I'll create the record. Just prepare the papers. The room exploded in murmurs. Tanya continued. And finally, Your Honor, we have this. She projected a medical document. Proof of vasectomy. Performed by Dr. Tyler Mitchell 3 months after the twins were born. Permanent procedure to make sure this never happened again. Tyler was shaking now, sweating. Bradley had his head in his hands. Tanya went back to the table. Prosecution calls Bradley Mitchell to the stand. Bradley stood up slowly, went up, swore in. Tanya didn't waste time. Dr. Mitchell, did you order Keisha Thompson's termination? There were competency issues. Yes or no? Yes, but did you forge medical error documentation? Bradley hesitated. I made administrative decisions based on what I thought was best for the hospital. Based on what was best for your son, you mean? Tanya threw papers on the table. We have 12 black employees who filed complaints against you in the last 3 days. 12, all reporting systematic discrimination, denied promotions, workplace harassment, hostile environment. It's a conspiracy. They finally had the courage to speak up. Tanya leaned in. For how many years have you used your position to harm black employees, Dr. Mitchell? Objection, one of the lawyers shouted. Sustained. The judge looked at Tanya. Careful, counselor. Tanya backed off. No further questions. Bradley stepped down from the stand. He looked 10 years older. Then Jennifer was called. She went up, nervous but determined. Tanya was gentle with her. Ms. Moore, did you work with Keisha Thompson? Yes, for a year. Did you witness anything relevant to this case? Jennifer took a deep breath. Yes. 2 weeks before Keisha was fired, I heard Dr. Bradley on the phone with someone. He said, "We need to get this girl out before she sinks my son." I didn't understand at the time. But later, when Keisha was fired, it made sense. Had you agreed to testify before? Yes. What happened? Dr. Mitchell's lawyers offered me $50,000 to disappear, and they threatened me. Said they'd investigate my record, look for mistakes, take my license. Jennifer looked at Keisha. I have 3 kids. I got scared. I took the money. And why did you come back? Jennifer wiped away tears. Because I saw Keisha turn down $200,000 to do the right thing, and I realized I needed to do the right thing too. My kids need to see that. The room fell silent. Judge Martin looked at Bradley's lawyers. Any questions? They didn't have any. There was no way to attack that. Tanya went back to the table. Prosecution rests, Your Honor. Bradley's lawyers tried to rebuild, called character witnesses for Tyler, doctors who spoke well of him, colleagues. But it didn't work. The evidence was overwhelming. At the end of the day, the judge banged the gavel. I'll review all the evidence. Verdict will be given in 48 hours. Court is adjourned until then. Everyone stood. Keisha left carrying the twins, David beside her. Outside, reporters surrounded Tyler. A journalist shouted, Dr. Mitchell, do you have anything to say to your children? Tyler stopped, looked at her, looked at the cameras. No comment, and pushed the camera. The cameraman stumbled. The camera fell. Security had to separate them. The video went viral in minutes. Father who rejected black children shoves journalist outside courthouse. Tyler had buried himself for good, and the verdict hadn't even come out yet. 48 hours felt like 48 years. Keisha barely slept. She stayed awake looking at the twins, thinking about everything that had happened. Months ago, she was in the rain, with nothing, with nobody. Now she was here, at David's house, with a lawyer, with support, with hope. But what if they lost? What if the Mitchells' money and power won? David came into her room on the morning of the verdict. No matter what happens today, you've already won. What do you mean? You stood up. You fought. You didn't accept being silenced. That's already a victory. He smiled. But we're going to win in court too. Trust me. They arrived at the courthouse at 9 in the morning. The room was even more packed than before. Everyone wanted to see the outcome. Keisha entered with the twins. Aiden and Zoe were 4 months old now, bigger, more alert. Zoe held her mother's finger. Aiden played with a rattle. Tyler and Bradley entered. Both looked defeated, hunched shoulders, lifeless eyes. The judge entered, banged the gavel. All rise. They sat. Judge Martin picked up the papers in front of her, looked at the room. This was one of the most disturbing cases I've ever presided over, not just because of the obvious discrimination, but because of the defendant's complete lack of remorse. She looked at Tyler. Dr. Tyler Mitchell, your own words condemned you. You didn't just abandon your children, you rejected them because of the color of their skin. That's repugnant. Tyler lowered his head. And you, Dr. Bradley Mitchell. She looked at the father. You used your position of power to destroy the life of an innocent woman to protect your son from the consequences of his own actions. That's abuse of authority in its most vile form. Bradley didn't respond. The judge picked up another paper. Regarding wrongful termination, the hospital is ordered to pay $2 million in compensation to Ms. Keisha Thompson for discriminatory termination, emotional damages, and suffering. The room exploded in murmurs. Silence! The judge banged the gavel. Regarding paternity, Dr. Tyler Mitchell is officially recognized as the biological father of twins Aiden and Zoe Thompson. He is ordered to pay child support of $15,000 monthly until the children turn 18. In addition, he must deposit $500,000 in an educational fund in the children's names. Tyler closed his eyes. However, the judge leaned forward. Given the nature of the abandonment and the documented racist statements, Dr. Mitchell is prohibited from having any contact with the children until they turn 18 and decide for themselves whether they want to know him. Unless he completes mandatory racial awareness programs and psychological therapy, with proof. Tyler opened his eyes, shocked. As for Dr. Bradley Mitchell, a complete ethics investigation is ordered by the state medical board. I strongly recommend revocation of his medical license. Bradley sank into his chair. The judge banged the gavel. Case closed. Justice has been served. The room exploded. Applause, shouts, tears. Keisha couldn't hold back. She cried, holding the twins. David hugged her. Tanya had tears in her eyes, too. On the other side, Tyler and Bradley left, escorted by security. The crowd booed them. Racists. Cowards. Pay for what you did. Outside, press conference. David stepped up to the podium. Today, justice won. But we know Keisha isn't the only woman who's been through this. She's not the only mother who was discriminated against, abandoned, destroyed by the system. He took a deep breath. That's why I'm announcing the creation of the Sarah Harrington Fund, in my daughter's name. A fund dedicated to supporting single mothers who are victims of discrimination in the workplace. We'll provide free legal assistance, financial support, and job opportunities. Applause echoed. Keisha stepped up beside him. I also have an announcement. I've accepted the position of Coordinator of Inclusion and Ethics at Harrington Medical Group. I'm going to work to make sure no other woman goes through what I went through. I'm going to fight every day to create fair and safe work environments. More applause. A reporter shouted, Ms. Thompson, how do you feel? Keisha looked at the twins in her arms. I feel free. Free to live. Free to raise my children with dignity. And grateful. Grateful to everyone who believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. 6 months later, Keisha was in her new apartment. 2 bedrooms, spacious living room, full of light. She paid for it with part of the settlement, saved the rest for the twins. She worked at David's hospital, loved the job, making a difference, creating fair policies. David was a constant presence. He came to dinner every week, brought gifts for the twins, became the unofficial uncle or grandfather. The title didn't matter. The love did. Tyler had lost his medical license temporarily. He worked as a pharmaceutical rep, alone, without Madison, without a brilliant career, without anything he'd dreamed of. Bradley had retired in disgrace, license revoked, reputation destroyed. He spent his days locked up at home. On a sunny Saturday, Keisha took the twins to the park. David went along. He pushed the double stroller while Keisha walked beside him. Aiden and Zoe laughed at the trees, the birds, the blue sky. They're growing up so fast, David commented. I know. Feels like yesterday they were newborns. They stopped at a bench. Keisha picked up Zoe. David picked up Aiden. She looked at the sky, thought about everything. The rain, the closed door, the desperation, and how everything had changed. We made it, babies, she whispered to the twins. We made it. David smiled. Yes, you did. Keisha looked at him. No, we did this together. David nodded, emotional. Aiden let out a loud laugh. Zoe clapped her little hands. And there, on that bench, in that park, on that sunny day, life went on. Not perfect. It would never be perfect. But fair, dignified, real. And that was all Keisha ever wanted.